stuff. And so anyway, bottom line is I'm waiting to hear back from Pam. And if Pam Pam doesn't have a car anymore either, right?
No, she
So
does
anyway,
not.
it may be somebody else. So I don't want to put it on the recording because we don't know yet what's going to happen. But
Right, but we are going to announce it here that we're looking for people, yeah or no?
well, we're looking for people in South County now because
Oh,
we have somebody in the Berkeley area, and then we have people in the Oakland area. So now we're looking for South County. So I'll talk about that when we get to the item, of course.
yes. Okay, cool. And here we go. Hi, I'm Vicente Cruz, Oakland Greens event and fundraising coordinator. I'll give you a little bit more in my head. And here we are for our December public general meeting. And right now, our discussion topics are doxing, being fired for what you do outside of work, lawmakers remind them about the video a few weeks back about the UCMJ, war with Venezuela, Secretary of Defense phone call, kill them all, Miss Rachael on the anti-Semitism award, right? Costco not raising their prices over the tariffs, but suing the Trump administration. Double standards from fraud over in Somalia. Charlie Kirk's death. And then we're on to the county, which is the holiday party report back, candidate petition signing, which also what we were just talking about. And then events for 2026. We're beginning our new movie night series and we're adding one. And then we go to social media outreach, announcements, and then off of the recording is the Treasury report. And I added your item there, Greg. Did I forget anything else? Anyone want anything else on the agenda? No, great. All right. So let me get back to the top. So the first thing I actually just added this one too. The first thing I wanted to talk about, which is definitely personal to me, is doxing. If nobody doesn't know what that is, for the 4 people that'll watch this on YouTube, it's when you get somebody's personal information, their home address, work address, and start emailing and messaging all of their, putting their information out there for everyone to see. And, people come up and can come to your house and harass you or kill you or whatever the fuck is going on. I do not like it. Again, same thing, which is the next topic too, like for having something you do outside of work. I said this way back at the white nationalist rally in Virginia when they were on the university campus. And there was a UC Berkeley student who worked at the Hot Dog Palace that's over on Claremont, because I just gave them a shout out for no reason. And they fired him just for being there. It wasn't because of anything he did at work. He did not refuse to serve Muslims. He didn't spit in their food. He didn't spit in Jewish people's food or anything like that. Did nothing other than have their personal beliefs outside of work, that didn't align with either mainstream or whatever fucking label you want to put on it. I had that happen. That's one of it wasn't just budget cuts. They had, when Playworks used to be sports for kids, they definitely took more of an activist Black Panther-y approach to education and physical fitness. And then they started being successful in getting grants and becoming nationwide. And they fired everyone who was ever an activist. And it was much later, it was during Don's campaign for school board, where we were at an event and someone I worked with cousin was also running for mayor. And he had mentioned to me that he had been in on meetings where they were talking about me specific and coming back to teaching, and they liked everything except for my activism, and so they did not have me back. So I don't think that is, as long as it doesn't affect your work. Although in their defense too, they could say that my activism affected my work because I definitely took that approach to it, right? When I told my kids why they should act a certain way, it's because we need to take care of our own people because the government isn't coming to save us. Nobody's coming. I was surprised that my students made it to school every day, stepping over dead bodies and addicts just out. And it was just amazing to me And I knew it was bad, but I didn't know how bad until I had actually taken some of my students home from a sports game and took them to their apartment. And right in the entrance to their apartment complex, there was someone, well, they either were OD'd or they were passed out, one of the two. I don't know which. So I was just surprised. So I don't think that any of that, that's my like sort of rant on doxing. I think it's a bad idea. Even ICE agents, what their families and their kids have nothing to do with their own actions, other than they're probably teaching their kids that. But until their kids can be grown enough to make their own decisions, you can't hold them accountable. And by putting their personal information out there, you put people in danger. And it's just not. I don't think it's a positive thing. Does anyone else have any thoughts on that? Please don't make me the only one talking, as many of these meetings
Well,
are.
I think you've put out several different items, and regarding the separation between what you do outside of work versus what your employer might do if they find out what you do outside of work. I mean, one thing there is about labor unions. If you were a member of a labor union, yeah, and the labor union had a contract with the employers, it'd be much more difficult for an employer to go after what you're doing outside of work. I mean, there'd have to be something specifically in the labor contract which would allow them to use that. But of course, in this country, most people unfortunately aren't part of unions because there's so much union busting. And so most people are totally at the whim of the employers, and uh, it's just horrible. So I'll stop there, and we can finish that topic, and I got a related one next.
Okay. Dale, please.
So, isn't it the will of the employer to fire people if they are employees at will under contract?
If you have a
Or just on a whim? That's
if you have a
legal.
labor contract, there are only certain reasons.
Well, that's a
Uh,
different thing.
yeah, okay, that's
That's
what I meant.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yes, but we are an at-will employment state, and yes, they can. Now, even under that, they cannot violate your human civil rights. So if I am fired for how I voted, even though we're at an at-will state, that is illegal. And you can still sue the company. The company cannot fire you because you voted green, independent, Republican, or Democrat. They cannot do that. So even in the at will, if they are violating any sort of actual equal opportunity laws, it doesn't matter if it's at will. That's a wrongful termination, and you can sue, get your job back, get money or whatever. So,
yeah, but it is very difficult. Because like, suppose you went to a demonstration for LGBT rights, or better yet, trans rights, because that's so much in the news. And if your employer, totally hates trans people and found out that you were going to the protests, that they might want to fire you. Now, I know that I'm pretty sure that LGBT, LG, lesbian and gays, I think, what is it called? Sexual preference, gender preference. I think there's something, I know that gender, race, religion, those things
sexual
are protected.
orientation, yes.
Yeah, those are protected in law, but I don't know where trans fits. So, things that are protected in law, then the employer would have a very hard time suing you without being penalized. Um, so yeah, you're right. But general politics, if you go to a protest, protesting genocide in Gaza, you know, um, I don't think there's. I think the employer could fire you, and I don't think you'd be able to get it proven in court that they were discriminating based on one of those rules. So it is very hard. I don't know what we can do.
Well, they'd have to prove like they usually would find some other reason to fire. Like it would not be in the write-up fired for going
Oh
to
yeah, they'd say
the
that. Oh yeah,
LGBTQ
you
plus
did something
protest.
wrong last Tuesday.
You
Your
were
work
late too
wasn't up
many
to par.
times,
Yeah, yeah,
absent too many times, and
yeah.
things like that too. So that's what they'd have to do. But they'd still have to prove that, right? Like they have to have something that they can prove. And I don't think you could, even if you had a halfway decent lawyer, you could go into court and go, no, I just happened to be walking downtown. What are you talking about? Somebody stuck a sign in my hand and somehow you got a picture of that. So yeah,
Yeah,
but there's
but if they're firing you because you'd missed 2 days you were late. You were late 2 days and your work wasn't 100% or something, then you know they're gonna. You're right. They're gonna fire you for other reasons. Normally they're gonna fire you for other reasons. So it's
right,
it's
they'll
not
find
gonna
something.
work.
Right, right.
I agree. It's just like your employer going on your Facebook or your Instagram page and see you posting things.
Mhm.
They fire you just because of that.
Well, and now it's even worse because they'll check your Facebook, all your social media before you get a job, and then they
Right.
don't even have to hire you,
Yeah.
right?
Make sure your LinkedIn is clean. If your LinkedIn ain't clean, it's over.
Yes, right. That's why you don't hook up your social media. That's why I also don't. I'm not a big fan of LinkedIn and all that shit either. I don't know. No, not a fan. Um, Anything else? That was a good one.
Yeah.
No. All
The other
right.
thing about
Oh,
the doxing, getting a hold of personal information and harassing people and stuff. It is a little tricky if you're somewhat of a public figure, whether you're an elected official or even. I'm thinking of the guy Phil Tagami that was the owner of this big coal. They were trying to build a coal terminal in Oakland, and I remember the people that were trying to stop the coal project at one point went and did a protest right in front of his house, his personal house, and were making noise and stuff. And, so it gets complicated. Um, you
yeah,
know,
I
it's
don't. I hear what you're saying. I don't think it's complicated because in that instant, they're on a public street making noise during the day, right? They were within the limits of, oh, you can do construction from 9 to 6 or whatever, things like that. They weren't actually throwing anything at his house. And then even too, if you're going and I'm going to go up and knock on the door, I'm trying to present a letter. They used to do that to Libby Schaff at her house over there by Dale too. They would go to her actual home and, and try to, irritate you, make it louder when you're trying to go to sleep or whatever and stuff too. So I think, but what's happening now is like people are like attacking family members, like the person that they're actually trying to protest against or whatever isn't actually home and they're, harassing their kids on the way to school. Like that's not, I've never been any part of any organization that would do that either. So it's like who, that's where it also pulls into, I'm like, is this like a COINTELPRO thing now? Like you all are plants and you're trying to make activists look bad, like, oh, you're harassing the kids on the way to school. Really, I've never seen you at a meeting, shit like
yeah,
that, right? I mean
yeah.
that has happened. I've had that all the time. Somebody would do it. It was one of the. This is obviously back when Oscar Grant, but the fuck the police rallies, and somebody was up smashing an ATM and we went and we were like, well, why are you doing that? Like, I generally was curious, like you're not doing it to the headquarters. Like, what does this do? What do you think this is doing to further the cause? They didn't want to answer. And then somebody was like, no, I think that dude's an undercover cop. Right. And we're like, whoa, hold on a second, dude. Who are you? Like, I've never seen you. Like, and then you start taking off running.
Yeah.
We're chasing him. An undercover cop car pulls up, back door opens, he dives in, they drive away.
Yep.
So that's the same thing with all these other, anytime you hear like, oh, they're harassing the kids. And I'm like, yeah, well, let's take that with a grain of salt because that just may be fucking some sort of, false flag operation, as they used to call it, right? COINTELPRO shit. But either way, I don't like it. Not a fan. Not a fan.
What you think about the AI doxing?
I don't like that either. AI is all, maybe I should put that on. Maybe we'll do that for January, but I'm not a big fan of AI either, man. It's like totally going to, you know what I heard on that? And we can just add stuff too. So I just read an article yesterday on the the environmental impact of AI, all the computers and power generation and all the shit. Do same thing with crypto, right? These huge data centers mining all these cryptocurrencies, the amount of power that it takes to run all these computers to keep it up, because that's how crypto works. It has to keep on, doing the calculations to make the coins. And that there is same thing with AI, the amount of computer power, the electricity, and another environmental impact when they have to go and build these centers, right? The environmental impact, killing everything, is just astronomical, which I didn't even think that wasn't even at the top of my priority list of why not to, or what you should be talking about when having the debate about whether AI is good or bad. But there's another too. I'm like, whoa, shit! Like it's huge. Like it is a huge impact of resources that get just burnt up into the atmosphere and shit, and we don't talk about that shit too. So, and I'm kind of also with the agents of Shield in that one episode where the whole gag through the whole thing was about AI and robots and all this stuff. Like, didn't they see any movies in the 80s, like Terminator, like and all this shit too? The computers always go, man, these humans are, they're totally not the best stewards and we need to get rid of them. Every time, every story that a human has ever written about robots, that seems to be what comes out of the end of it and stuff too. So, but yeah, I'm not a fan. The next one is, I don't know if, I assume everybody saw the video of all these veterans reminding officers, which they don't see. I thought that, no, slow down with something. So they made this video reminding the military of the UCMJ that an unlawful order is not an actual order, right? All right, it's Article 90, the Uniform Code of Military Justice. And so they made that video, and then now everybody was, again, back to putting their shit out there and going after them. And, even the president saying they should be for sedition, which in itself, you're telling me that because I'm just telling you what the law is, that somehow now I'm a traitor. Well, that tells you everything you need to know about the current administration, right? I don't think they're too worried about it, but they had death threats and, all the normal cast of characters are coming after them for doing that and everything. But it seems that I thought the military would not. I thought they would not follow an unlawful order, but I think everything, which it does, I think we end up talking about it. It's actually the next two subjects. Everything that they've done on those Venezuelan boats is completely illegal from a military standpoint. I have not made any sort of verification of who this boat is, what they're doing, where they came from, none of that shit. Or at least they haven't showed it to us. And I don't think they are. I think it's, as most people, it's all about oil and resources. They have gems. They have cobalt. Cobalt is huge now. That'll be really the next, probably will be more power than oil for the next 10 years because that is used for computers and phones and all that shit. But I think it was definitely, I was glad to see them do it. I think it was great. I've been talking about it for a while too, about an unlawful order is not an order whatsoever. And my own experience in the military, I know that all the guys, at least in my squadron, you couldn't get them to fucking do anything illegal, fucking even if you paid them. They were so, like, I don't know about other people's experiences in the military, but we talked about who was getting elected because it affected us. The administration that is coming in is probably determines of whether or not we're going to war or not, or whatever the hell we're doing. So I was glad they did it. I was not surprised when the president went all nuts. Oh, sorry, Article 92. Let me go ahead and make sure I get that right before some of my military family watch the video and laugh at me. But yes. Does anyone else know about, Gail, you know about the Uniform Code of Military Justice, right? You were in the Coast Guard.
Well, I was tried in a summary court martial because of the UCMJ.
Are you allowed to say what you
Sabotaging
did?
the mission of a ship.
Sabotaging the mission of a ship. Oh, what'd you do? Or can you say? Don't say it because we're recording. I never had anything like that, but I have I mean, because everything's a court martial. You know, I mean, I got busted for wearing earrings off base, not even in uniform. And then the outcome of that trial was they took money out of my check for 3 months for doing it. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was like extremely silly. But those ones are usually because your commanding officer didn't like you. Maybe you were too uppity or whatever the fuck they want to say. But too so and then as it ties into the next two, it's all it seems to be a pretext for actually going to war with Venezuela. You know, it's all regime change has been quoted by people. You know, actual what we're not supposed to do.
I was fortunate enough to have my commanding officer like me very much, and the rest of us, and he too wanted to sabotage the mission of our ship.
Oh, it was a joint action. Okay, I like those. Sort of like Not Your Soldier, the Winter Soldier shit. I love it. Good, nothing wrong with that. And yeah, it's like I said, it's for a war with Venezuela, and then which I'm, and you know what? I keep saying that, thinking that it's going to be rational, and it's not. Pete Hegseth is not going to get fired because he told the military to kill them all. He's not going to get fired for that. Not even a little bit. He's not getting fired for being drunk. He's not being fired for having a fucking swastika tattoo over his fucking heart. Or Nazi tattoo, not a swastika. The German cross over his fucking thing too, right? He's not getting fired for that. Why would he get fired for saying kill them all? It makes no fucking, it's not going to happen. We're in some weird, bizarro world that even I would not have thought possible at this point. I didn't think the American people would that much, which is also my own naivete, because I also still know that in 1939, right, the Nazis sold out Madison Square Garden. Actual loving Hitler, Ziga, all that shit. Fucking right there in New York City. I was watching a movie, One Battle After Another movie, and they sort of the same thing where like you didn't, the legality of things, none of that fell into place anymore. They get to do what they want, and that's kind of where we're at, sadly. Do you think we're actually going to war? Anybody think so?
I think they're going to shoot missiles. I don't know if they're going to do much beyond that. Of course, they're going to covert. They're going to try to
Yes, special
topple
forces.
Maduro. They're going to do an inside, like what they did in with other countries.
Chile. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Haiti.
they'll try that kind of stuff.
Right, but stop short of actually full on invasion of the ground. But they probably don't think that they can get the American public behind it. That it would just
I don't. Well, I think it's also that I don't think they have the troops. A ground invasion for what is Venezuela must have 35 million people or something. I mean, it's not like Panama. It's not like Grenada. It's
Right.
a much larger country. So
Right, with a military.
yeah.
That actually has a military. All right. Anything else?
I don't think they're gonna go to war because we got too many people in that country, in this country. I think he just using an AI stunt. I don't believe nothing they say on the radio or the news because we actually don't know it's actually them. We know they bombing these ships, but they have no proof that they up-to-date footage. So I just think it's just another PR propaganda.
And that is absolutely true. Family and I used to started a few years ago making the joke that if it is online, it's not true, period. Nothing else after that. And we're definitely living in that world that AI is so sophisticated. Unless it's something so drastic that you're like, there's no way that person would do that. You would never know. Some of the things that have come out, like I'm like, oh shit, like that. Even some of it's simple too. So it's a video which is AI of a bunch of large yachts steaming by. But the way you tell that it's not fake is because they're not making a large enough wake compared to the speed that they were going. That's the only way you would have told the difference. It's just too much. Not hearing anything else. The next one is, I don't know. So after the dude retired from Clues, this other person, Miss Rachel, kind of took over as like the leading on TV educator of children. And she, on her show, had made a statement about how even that all children are deserving, even the children of Gaza and all this stuff too. And then like APAC's anti-Semitism awards, they didn't put Charlie Kirk or fucking, I don't think Shapiro was on it either, but they put Miss Rachel on it, along with all these other actual fucking, anti-Semites. And it got a lot of outrage. It was sort of like when they canceled the Reading Rainbow, like people went nuts. I was like, what the hell? Why are you bothering her? It was really a nothing burger. I mean, she's not. Like it was so obvious not, but there's another one where it does it. Anyone know what I'm talking about? You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You know, Dale? You don't know? So it's sort of like Mr. Rogers, but it's a woman. Obviously she's alive now. Her name is Miss Rachel. She has a children's TV show, online tutorials, and the same thing like Romper Room and everything else, giving kids self-esteem, wash behind your ears, shit like that. Eat your fruits and veggies, listen to your parents. She's just a general, even to the point it seems like from an aura too, we won't even catch her in some sort of scandal about, all of a sudden turns out she's, into a kids or so. I don't even want to say that on the recording. So, but yes, it was a very sad, because everyone else around her were like these horrible actual people who do not like Israel or Jewish people, right? It has nothing to do with this, what's happening in Gaza. It's actually actual anti-Semites. And then they put her on there. It's like, what? It'd be like back in the day when I was given that, and I even way back was saying that Israel was taking the lessons learned by the Jewish people during Nazism and just using those tactics towards the Gazan people. And people are like, how can you say that? I'm like, well, because they're committing a genocide. That's what happened in Germany, right? Or you disagree with that? And you kind of stop them in their track, like, no, of course that was them trying to commit genocide. I'm like, yeah, and the same thing that Israel's doing to Gaza. Absolutely. And back to what we talked about at the beginning. Even if you thought that every last fucking adult in Gaza was a member of Hamas, that has nothing to do with children. Children aren't responsible for the acts of their parents. You think that 3-year-old or that infant that got blown up in that building somehow? No, man. No, that's fucking bullshit. So, not for it. And moving on. So, if you haven't had a Costco membership, you should probably go get one. I thought about it, but I was like, it's just buying everything in such big bulk items. But Costco's a pretty good company. It's never been in any of the boycott lists. Gaza didn't get rid of DEI or anything. People that work there stay there. I have a dear friend who's been working there for well over 40 years. Will probably retire there. But what happened is Costco was suing the Trump administration over tariffs to recoup the money that it did not raise its prices to reflect those tariffs onto their customers. And they're using that in the lawsuit against the Trump administration that the tariffs are illegal and it's hurting business and things like that, which I was like, great job, Costco. Love it. And if I ever need, 50 pairs of socks, I'm on my way. Or a gallon of mayonnaise, I'm on my way. I only want to buy one thing of peanut butter every 6 months. Well, they're huge. Everything is it's bulk, right? For people with large families. We used to shop at Costco when I was young, but my mom was feeding all of us. So it was just crazy. So if you know people, you should tell them Costco, give them shout out. We love it.
Where's the closest Costco to you?
Richmond.
Richmond?
Right next to Point Isabel.
Oh, wow.
Not that far, actually.
All right.
There's a dog park over there. It's really pretty, right on the water, actually. And also good too. Costco sells fuel at lower prices. the other reason why a lot of companies don't like him, because they're taking the gas away and they have tire centers and everything else. But yes. Moving on. I'm gonna skip that one. I'm gonna skip that too. Can we go on, if no one was, to the county holiday party report back? I will start again. I had a great time. It was well attended. Like in most things, it just still also reminded me that where we are getting better in age diversity, or sorry, overall, but we as like the Green Party here locally, we need some age diversity, we need ethnic diversity, not so much in gender or sexual orientation. I think we have that covered, but we're all very old. We need more young people to kind of see what's going on. But they've gone on so long to like keep everybody on their phones. Like they've made it's sort of, there's a spoken word piece by Jelly Biafra, and it's like he's calling the British Prime Minister about what we need is another war because people are starting to get too aware and they're being too involved. We need another war. And in the course of this whole piece, he talks about, oh, don't worry about like, oh, the protesters or whatever, just pump up your drug supply. We had all those protesters in the 60s, and yet we kept the war running just fine. They can protest all they want. It does not affect us, because that's kind of where we're at in the Oakland Greens too, that all rallies should be teach-ins for getting candidates, because hollering at the same fools who are making the laws now, they don't care, right? They're too invested in the system the way it is. And I'll even say it too, and that's not just the fascists either. I call out Amy Goodman, fucking everyone that fucking sit there too. They're all Noel Hammerhand for the prison, but they all are doing well. Medea Benjamin, Code Pink, right? They are all doing fine and benefiting from this system, right? They're just as much capitalists as anyone else, right? They all got fucking houses, probably paid off more than one, writing books, going on tour. You get to go to COP in Brazil. I can't afford to go to the climate action process in Brazil and protest, but you get to go and report because you have all that money, right? And people keep doing it. Same thing, KPFA. We've said it before, right? Supposed to be the most progressive for us too. How often do they have our candidates on, right? Whatsoever. None of them calling for a general strike. It's too late, and we have said this in our literature. We have been in a state of emergency since the early 2000s, right? In Don's first campaign, we used that slogan that we're in every start. We're in crisis. We're in state of emergency. Written on the literature. It's like it's too much, and you could do if they called. If Amy Goodman got on Democracy Now! On Monday and said, "Hey, on this date, right? Everyone is pushing for this, and we're supporting it. We're going to be out there." Man, that shit would start to gain traction. And Chicago mayor called for it, and I think the governor of Illinois, but it got whispered, right? General strike. It's like not shouting it from the hilltop, right? You're not getting any fucking love for it. So same thing for us. I think that we need to do more. I'm going to definitely do my best when going out there and handing out flyers for our free events, and see if we can get, again, more people interested. Yes, Greg, please.
Down at the holiday party, down at the far end, the end that was closest to the door. So, away from where you were, but down by near the entrance to the game store. There were 3 young people there at the beginning, pretty much at the beginning when we got started, and when the food came, we got started. One of them is in their 20s. I forget where they're going to school now, but next year they're going to be at UC Berkeley, and he's actually interested in running for a local office in Berkeley. So that was good. And then there were 2 other young people. One's a filmmaker. I forget. I think the other one was he was initially a lawyer and decided he didn't want to be a lawyer. So I think he's working for the state office of maybe Social Security or some state office. Anyway, and they're very enthusiastic too. So, we had several young people down there. They both had to leave, before the end, so they weren't around at the end. But
Yeah, well, it was just a holiday party anyway. Yeah. Well, that's
yeah,
good. I'm glad I was in host mode, so I didn't really, I was trying to get it, but that's good. I like it. Well, and also Chris's daughter was up from school as
yeah,
well.
right.
That too. And I really, yes, they're great as well. So, but all in all, a good fun end to the year. And then that sends us into your topic, Greg, too, you're doing signing parties. Is that
Oh
correct?
yeah, yeah. So, for all the partisan offices, whether it's for governor or secretary of state, any other statewide office, as well as for state legislature and Congress, you either have to pay a filing fee, and the filing fee can range from like $1,500 for state assembly to like $5,000 or something for governor. Or you can get signatures to reduce or even eliminate your filing fee. Signatures are usually worth somewhere between 50 cents and a dollar, depending on what office you're running for. And so, both we and the Peace and Freedom Party, because we have a left unity slate, we're going to help get signatures for each other. We're going to be getting signatures to try to eliminate as much of the filing fees for our candidates as possible, because we can always use that money for other things for the campaign. So, the period for getting the signatures started on Friday, and I'm going to be planning to have a signing party on this coming Saturday, so the next weekend, Saturday, coming up in 6 days. It'll probably be at the Vault Cafe where we had the signing party for the county council members last year in South Berkeley. I need to call them and make sure their holiday hours are going to be open. And then, in the next couple of days, if they're going to be open, then I'll send that out. We'll start our first signing party. We'll have another signing party in January. People that can take the sheets. Now, it's complicated because there are 8 statewide candidates. And then Butch Ware just put out a call for state assembly members because he wants to have a bunch of Greens be running for state assembly around the state. And so there's a Green that was active, God, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago in Berkeley. His name is Mark Rendon. So he's going to be running against Buffy Wicks in the Berkeley seat. And, before we started this video, I was mentioning that we had 4 people that said they were okay originally with running for the Mia Bonta seat. And we'll make a decision probably the next day or two who it's going to be, and we'll be sending that out. So we'll have at least 2 Alameda County State Assembly candidates, and I don't know if we're going to have anyone in Hayward or Fremont because we don't really have any active people down there, so it's hard to find candidates if you don't have any activity going on.
Right.
But at least we'll have two up here, and then other counties around the state going to have them. So that'll be very interesting. It'll be the first time that we've had a bunch of assembly candidates for a long, long time. Yeah, so we'll have a bunch of signing parties.
Is that something that we could just be like in front of Safeway with them, or does it have to be specific areas that we're looking for signatures?
No, it just has to be any registered voter, but they have to, they have to verify that they are
Yes.
a registered voter, and for the assembly, they have to be in the assembly district.
Yeah.
So,
but I could get a clipboard for someone and go out to my Safeway in Fruitvale here and just have people, okay, after next week, we should make it so I can come over there maybe Tuesday and pick up a clipboard from you over at Grassroots House. Does that sound?
Yeah, either Grassroots House or, we'll have some sets of petitions at the signing party on Saturday.
Well, no, I was hoping to go out before Saturday.
Oh, they're not going to be ready till Saturday.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The sheets and stuff are, they're still, some of them are still being sent. We gotta receive them and print them out and
Okay.
put them in order. And
Yep.
so, and then of course we got the Christmas holidays, so that's
Bleh,
going to take some time too.
bleh.
Yeah.
Make me throw up in my mouth. I'm not a fan of this time of year whatsoever. I can't wait for New Year's every time. All right, well, that's good. And I'll just, make sure to show up on Saturday.
Yeah.
Anyone have any questions about signing party? No, all right. That moves us into 2026 movie nights. Oh my gosh, and comedy night too, because we're doing one in November. So we have our, if everyone was at the last meeting, we have our, I guess I could tie it all in too. So we have our list for 2026 movie nights. January is the movie Civil War, which came out in 2024. Princess Bride in February 1987. March is Pink Floyd, The Wall. Get your mushrooms out for that one. April is V for Vendetta. May is Sugarcane, which I'm excited for that one because that's one I haven't seen yet either. A lot of the movies that I picked, I had already seen. That's how I know they're good. This got like good reviews and all that. So, and of course, when I send all these out like the month before and email us out and on the Eventbrite page, which we will talk about because I'm on it now, we'll have the trailers for each individual movie on that page. June is Don't Look Up. July, The Age of Disclosure. Oh, that's going to freak people out. August is No Other Land. September is Rosewood. October is Jojo Rabbit. And then our November event, which we just added, is we're going to do a open mic comedy show. So we're going to get people a little bit laughing at the end there before we get around to the next holiday season. Does anyone have any questions on all of those? No.
November is going to be the usual end of the month Sunday.
Yes. We're sticking with the last Sunday of the month. Again, as an event producer myself, it's like we've already established that our events are the last Sunday of every month. So,
well, I hope we can have some good, because November will be the election, and I hope we can have some good election results so that we can keep laughing.
Right, absolutely. Well, I already have two headliners as well. I have not gotten actual signatures yet, so I won't announce their names yet. But I should definitely by next month's meeting in January, and then we'll go ahead and start announcing them, and I'll start promoting it already. I've already got January's movie night flyers are inside of the game store. I gave 2 8.5 by 11 window signs to go up as well. I will always admit my own little flaws. So last year, the word from the public was my flyers were too busy, too much color. It was too much for their brains to handle. So they wanted something plainer, but in true Vicente fashion, I went exact opposite. So it's just a black and white. It's no flyers, no nothing. You go to the game store, you can see it. It's easy to read because it's only the text of what the movies are. Didn't put no flash, no nothing on it, which is definitely apropos to myself. So, but yes, so I will have all that stuff out, which ties into social media and outreach. The new website, theoaklandgreens.org, is up and running. We had gotten our first donation already from that page for $100, $96.47 because we eat the fee for people making donations. And I am already starting. I've got our new Eventbrite page that's coincided with that. And I'm actually today, it's actually all on the bottom of my tabs too. If I shared my screen, they're all open. All of the graphics for the first month and everything are all open, and I'm already working on it. We had that too. So again, the splash page and the about page are up and running. And the event page on the website is scheduled to launch on the 26th of December. And yeah, I was excited. Dale had hit me up and said, oh, he couldn't get to it. And I was like, yeah, because I hadn't actually launched it yet. Because I wanted to make sure that the splash page had all of the graphics and everything on it, and that I was, up on it and all that stuff too. So, but that was the motivation I needed, knowing that at least one person's already trying to click on it to go ahead and get that stuff up. So it is launched. Go take a look. It's just at the beginning stage, but anyway, go ahead and take a look at that too. Once again, www.theoaklandgreens.org. And the other one that's on there too, we had authorized for a public address system. I haven't bothered to purchase it yet because we haven't been out to any events, but once there's an event scheduled through one time, I will go ahead and purchase it so we have it at that event. And then lastly, under social media and outreach, I have officially signed on to co-facilitate a pod for Bay Resistance. If people don't know, Bay Resistance is like a networking group that puts all different groups together and that you can rely on to please come to our rally or whatever that too. So I am, that's just the working name, but I'm Peralta Hacienda. It's very, very localized too. So it's right here in 94601. The people, I have 12 people who have signed up, 4 that have actually already gotten back to me. That'll probably be the facilitation team. And we're having our first meeting in January. We have not picked the exact, but it's going to be a Wednesday, and it'll either be the second or third Wednesday. I try to keep it all in those because like second week is like the county meeting all the time. Third is our local Oakland Greens. So I try to keep it all. I want to condense so they have some time off to fuck around. But yes, and so that's exciting. And of course, I'm promoting green stuff when I'm there as well. And I can't remember if anybody else, they didn't really talk about any of their political affiliations so much so far, but we'll see what's going on. But yeah, that's like exciting. Yes, Greg.
Yeah, that's another good reason to take around these papers because any registered voter can sign them. They don't have to be registered green or peace and freedom. And so, you can start up a good political conversation that way.
Absolutely. Well, and that's how we do it. I was talking about our time, shout out Michael Jan, at the Grand Lake Farmers Market, when we did that for 3 or 4 years or whatever it was. And just every Saturday, rain or shine, I'm out there at 5 a.m., get the table set up, and, you had to be there for it. Anyway, I don't know why. I do know why I put that in there because getting up at 5 in the morning was a pain in the ass. And having to be there so early for just, giving out information. But people would ask us why we would have other people's information on it. And, my answer was like, you stopped, didn't you? You stopped to ask a question. Like, it's just a hook, like just to get you in there talking about it. Aside from the fact, too, that we were definitely, the 3 of us, since we were the ones that were always there, Michael, Jan, and myself, I would think every voice should be heard. It'd be kind of hypocritical if we tried to. I'm like, you're not going to find like Nazi propaganda on here or whatever. But as far as just generic, if you're, again, doing policy versus people, we'll definitely put your policies out there because it gives us a chance to debate it and talk about it. We used to have Rebecca Kaplan stuff on there after she was green, even. Yeah. Yes, that would be another good chance to go and get signatures as well. Yeah. Anything else? Anyone have any announcements? No? All right. Well, this is Vicente Cruz, Oakland Greens Event and Fundraising Coordinator, and this ends our recorded portion of our December public meeting. Even though the Treasury report is not recorded or online, you are more than welcome to come to the meeting and hear it, right? And I forgot to do it, bad on myself. I had made a commitment to try and also just put the link open on meeting days onto our social media so anybody could click in when they wanted to as well. Sorry, I forgot that this time. And fully admit it's because I came home and took a nap. So I didn't wake up till 6, got up, walked the dog, and then jumped in. I was like, I got 3 minutes. Yes. So that ends our recorded portion, but it is still open to the public. You're welcome to come and hear what we're doing. It's not like we've got tons of money or anything. Because in fact, I just had someone try to steal my identity today. I got an alert from my bank. So that's the other reason why we do not put about monies and stuff that we have online. So last, Vicente Cruz, Oakland Greens Event and Fundraising Coordinator, and that ends our recorded portion. Thank you very much. We'll see you next month.